I'll let this guy go by. Whee! Hiya. All right, truth be told, I don't actually love to ride with a bag on. I used to ride with a bag on all the time, racing enduros for fear of not having enough supplies, spares, layers, snacks, all that jazz. But a lot's changed since then, and it's much easier to carry gear on your bike or on your body and keep the weight off your shoulders. It really allows me to shred in more comfort. So today I'm gonna share with you a couple of essentials that I bring out on various lengths of rides, and hopefully you'll be inspired, maybe something you haven't seen before, or maybe you'll leave that 5th granola bar at home with that extra block of Allen keys. Remember, these are things that I pack on a ride, so feel free to bring whatever other essentials you need, maybe like an EpiPen if you have severe allergies, or take anything out of this kit that's overkill, each to their own. Also, I'm not a nutritionist, so add in however much you need so that your body can perform out on the trails. I know for me, on a really hot day, I will consume a lot more water than on a cool and rainy day. Let's move on to the bike now. Everything on my bike lives here full time. Some pieces are from sponsors, some are things I've gone out and bought with my own money, but if it's on my bike, it's because I genuinely don't want to be left without it. Two of the most important things on my bike, my pump and my EDC tool. The pump here is great if you get a flat tire. Doesn't really help if you have a tube and you don't have a way to put air in it. So I've got my pump, some nice strong tape on the bottom. You never know when you're gonna need to tape something up. And then in the bottom of the pump here, I've got this cool little stash pocket with some spare zip ties. Zip ties come in handy for all sorts of things. My EDC tool has pretty much everything you could need to do repairs on your bike. To start with, we've got a tire lever if you need to change a flat. We've got an awesome little chain breaker tool here, super tiny, really lightweight. In there, you've got spoke keys as well. I've personally never gone out and tightened my spokes on the trail, but I have definitely lent this tool to other people who have needed it. I also like to hide a little quick link in here. Can't really see it because it's got tape over it, but if I do snap a chain with all the tools here, I can throw another little quick link in, good to go. The actual tool itself has pretty much everything you need. You've got all the Allen keys, the torque keys, anything to do quick little repairs on the bike, maybe adjust your gears. In the bottom of this little holder, I've got a tire plug setup, as well as a chain brake tool. So again, everything you need to do your tools, your chains. I did forget to mention this cool little chain ring bolt. Again, it's one of those things that I've never actually had to deal with, but in the event when you lose a chainring bolt in the middle of nowhere, you're pretty stoked to have this little one here. I have saved tons of flat tires out on the trails. I actually need to re-up my little pack of bacon strips here, but these things are awesome. You can fit a couple of them in a couple millimeters wide hole on your tire, especially if you're a tubeless setup, you'd be good to go. Last little bits on my bike are my water bottle, obviously. Under the water bottle cage, I've got a little stash box there where I hide my tube. If you don't have a stash spot on your bike, then a little ski strap is actually awesome for putting stuff onto your bike frame. And finally, the super sick 1UP JSS. Now, if I'm headed out for a quick rip, what I call a 1-bottle ride, it's gonna be an hour long, give or take, maybe door to door or car door to car door, and you don't need much. I've got everything on my bike for mechanicals. I've got a granola bar in the pocket, a nice delicious orange to eat at the top of my climb, and a fully charged phone in case of emergencies. You might see an animal out on trail or an influencer in the wild. Next up, we've got the 2 to 3 hour snack ride. This is a ride that I'm probably gonna plan right after breakfast, just before après, so minimal food needed. I'm gonna do this in a populated area or a nice trail network so I'm close to amenities and services if I need those. And if anything goes wrong, I've got my fully charged phone. I can call for help. The snacks I'm gonna bring on this ride, just a bit more than my 1-bottle ride. Maybe I'll bring 2 granola bars instead of 1. I've got this handy little bag of trail mix that I like to bring along on rides. Don't forget your orange or your apple. I like to eat them at the top of the first climb because trust me, falling on an apple in your bib pocket is not a good time. It's also a nice little hydration and sugar kick at the top as well. I've got a spare water bottle in the bibs, and that's it, that's all. Alrighty, 3 to 6 hours. Now that is a big ride for anybody. I still like to plan these rides right after a good hearty breakfast, make sure I've got lots of energy to take out on the trails with me. Aside from what I'm already carrying on my bike, I'm gonna bring a little windbreaker or an extra layer depending on the weather. And I've chosen my shorts with tons of pockets so I can stack them full of snacks. I've even got a little sandwich here as well. Don't forget your phone, a fully charged phone, so that you can call your mom at the top of the mountain, assuming you have cell phone service. And I've brought an Enduro banana. On a big ride like this, a little extra potassium definitely helps me, but it's all in the spirit of Enduro, right? And finally, my favorite piece of the puzzle here is my water filter. I love bringing a water filter with me because then I don't have to carry tons of water on my back or on my bike. I can just stop at the nearest stream, fill up the bottle, and away we go. If you don't have an awesome water filter like this, then I'd recommend bringing in maybe a fanny pack with a water bladder in it, just to make sure you're hydrated enough. And on a big ride, you might even want to bring some electrolytes. And last, my favorite ride, the adventure ride. Now for me, this ride's gonna be longer than 6 hours, and probably, chances are, I'm in the backcountry. So there's a lot more at stake with animals, and you're out of cell phone service. So you gotta be a little bit more careful than something closer to home. Now I have been known to go on some pretty big rides with no pack, fully stuffed pockets, but honestly, I would not recommend that. It's not for the faint of heart. It's a much better idea to be prepared, have everything you need in your kit, because little mechanicals out in the backcountry can have you walking a very far way to get back home. Aside from everything that's already on my bike, my tools, my spare tube, I've actually got this little guy here, which is a canister of bear spray in a half of a water bottle. And I do that because I want to be able to have it on my bike, ready to go. We have a lot of grizzly bears here, and I ain't playing around with that, no way. On my body, I've got my windbreaker, I've got my pockets stuffed full of snacks, sandwiches, I've got my fully charged cell phone ready to go. Even if you don't have service out in the backcountry, usually you can still use the GPS on your phone to help navigate if you are a little bit lost. But I always recommend, if you're going somewhere out of cell phone service, bring a paper map. I know, right? Like, who even uses these anymore? But if you're going on a big adventure, definitely get a map of your area. It's the smartest thing you could do. Now, you know it's a big day out when I've got a bag on. So this bag, I've got full water bladder, ready to go. Got my water filter here in case I need to fill up at any creeks along the way, and a crucial piece of backcountry equipment. I've got the Garmin inReach here, but if you don't have this, like a spot device or some sort of satellite technology that you can use without service to get help if you need it. Because if you're all the way out in the backcountry and you have an issue or someone's injured, you need help as soon as possible. Headlamp, something you probably don't want to have to need. You don't want to get stuck out in the dark, but things happen. Bring a headlamp. Hopefully it's got batteries in there. I've got my spare ski strap here if I need to hold anything together on my bike. I've seen this used in many, many ways. Super worth having around. Spare derailleur hanger. Now, I cannot say enough about having a spare derailleur hanger. It's such a simple little thing. It weighs nothing, but if you're going somewhere away from services or shops, your bike, if you break a derailleur hanger, it's pretty much gonna be worthless. So every bike has a unique derailleur hanger to them. So just because your buddy brought one with his bike, doesn't mean it's gonna work on your bike. So bring your own. Now this one's a bit of a crazy one. I would put this in the hard maybe pile. It's a spare of extra brake pads. I'm pretty good about checking my bike before I go on a big epic adventure. I'm gonna check things like air pressure in the shock and the fork, tire pressures, brake pad life, but things happen out in the wilderness, things that you could never even imagine. So having a spare pair of brake pads, definitely a good idea. Probably one of my favorite little tools that I've had for at least 10 years. My mom got me this one. It's my Leatherman. It's just like a little multi-tool. You've got your pliers, knives, pretty much everything you would need in the wilderness, as long as you've got your EDC tool there as well. But awesome. It's a plethora of little tools that you could use. Also going in the hard maybe pile is a little tiny thing of chain lube. Now it's pretty rare that I would actually bring this out with me, but if it's the middle of summer and I'm going on a huge epic ride, a little bit of chain lube and a clean chain halfway through is gonna make a huge difference. Your bike's not gonna be squeaky, and it's just gonna work a lot more efficiently for the drivetrain. Every safety pack is not complete, in my opinion, without a lighter. Does it function? Yes, it's a functioning lighter. Gotta be able to make some fire out on the trails if you're stuck in an emergency or if you get stuck out overnight. Also, in my little repair kit here, I brought another tire lever. Now, yes, I do have one up in my EDC tool there, but having 2 tire levers out on trail, especially when you're working with these big burly tires these days, it's gonna make a huge difference. Going into the repair pack, we've got a spare derailleur cable here. Just one little cleat bolt. It sounds like a silly little thing, like who loses the cleats on their shoes, but I've seen it. It's not happened to me, touch wood, but it's definitely happened to a friend. So I bring one of those around because sometimes you can just make somebody else's day. A spare tubeless valve. I have personally been in a race where a rock has annihilated my valve and snapped it clean off. So I like to bring a little spare, because why not? And we've got a little puncture repair kit here. So various sizes of patches. This one's quite big. It would actually work well on like a sidewall tear or something like that. But what good is a patch kit without some glue? If you haven't looked in your patch kit for 5-10 years, chances are that glue's dried up. So visit your local bike shop, get a fresh thing of glue. I like to bring a nice cozy layer, because especially if you're in the backcountry and you're crossing over some big mountain passes, it's gonna be cold up there. So I've got this tiny little puffy jacket, folds up to the size of basically nothing, but a little extra layer, especially if you're covered in sweat, it's gonna make a big difference. Also going in the hard maybe pile is a shock pump. Do I actually go riding with a shock pump in the backcountry? Not very often, to be honest, unless I know that I've got something going on with my suspension. This is something I would check at the trailhead or the car park before I go on a big ride. But if you know you have issues or if you're dealing with altitude changes, it's not a bad idea to bring this little guy along. And finally, we're going into my very condensed first aid kit. I like to bring things out on the trail that I know how to use, that I feel comfortable, helping other people or myself if an emergency were to come up. This little guy here, it's called a C-splint. It weighs pretty much nothing, fits really nicely into your bag, but it's gonna be awesome if you have a broken bone or something out on trail that you need to stabilize before help gets there. But to start with, first aid kit, what I think everybody needs is a little safety blanket. Now this little thing, super handy, weighs basically nothing, but if you are caught out in the elements or at the top of a big mountain pass, like I mentioned, this is gonna keep you a lot warmer than having nothing. It's called a safety blanket for a reason. Pack what you think you'll need and what you actually know how to use. I've got stuff in here for like a big wound. I've got nice gauze to put over that, some tape. Now this isn't a very big, elaborate first aid kit, but this is just for like one big day ride. Well, that's it, that's all. If I don't have it in my pack, then hopefully I don't need it. Or maybe my buddy packed it instead, which is actually a good point. If you are headed out on a big adventure ride and you're carrying a lot of gear, maybe consider sharing the load so not everybody's riding around with a little toddler on their back. I'm sure I forgot a couple of essentials out there. Please leave those in the comments below. I'd love to read through them and get some ideas of stuff to add into my pack for the next big ride. And if you like what you saw, subscribe to the channel because we're releasing videos like this on the daily.